The nature of the beast, debt collectors and the legal system. Money talks. Hi and welcome back. In today's video, we're going to revisit the nature of the debt collectors and their practices, and then we'll discuss some of the things that your legal leg up does. I want you to understand why you can definitely do this, why you might want to join with us, and how we can help each other. This video is brought to you by yourlegallegup.com, your advantage if you're being sued by debt collectors. You'll recall that I said in our first video that the debt collectors almost never have what they need to win a lawsuit against you. That is, if you make them play by the rules. There are lots of ways this shows up. We already talked about the hearsay rule, which blocks, or should block, almost all their evidence of the debt and whether you owe it. There's a similar attack to be made on the question of whether the debt collector itself even owns the right to the debt and has any right to sue you at all. And there's also a similar attack on the contract that would give them the right to attorney's fees or other fees if they're seeking those, which they usually are. There are many other ways to attack their case. Not all of them are standardized, of course. We're talking about developing a resourcefulness. A resourcefulness that probes their case, looks for weaknesses that are sure to be there, and knows how to take advantage when they show up. There's more to chess than knowing the right moves in a specific given situation. Same with debt. And debt collectors do have a lot of fairly standard weaknesses you can use. So why do the debt collectors have all these weaknesses? I can assure you that in almost any other kind of case, plaintiffs would never dare to go to court with these kinds of weaknesses. What makes debt collectors so special in a bad way? I'm sure you've heard that debt collectors buy debt in huge amounts. You may not know how huge, though. Think of it in terms of tens of thousands or even millions of accounts at a time, hundreds of millions of dollars in nominal debt every year. That makes them big business. Remember that concept because we're going to come back to it. When they buy debt, all the debt collector typically receives is a computer tape with a few pages of information, usually little more than the information for which the last statement is generated. That's nowhere near enough in traditional law to prove a case against you. In contract law, where the court is taking the law seriously, a plaintiff is usually required to show each specific part of a claim, that it lent you the money and is entitled to repayment. That's two different things. And that you agreed to repay and didn't. And how much specifically is owed. And all of these things have to be showed with legitimate, real evidence. For the company that made the contract with you, if there happens to be one, having that information wouldn't be such a big deal. But have you ever tried to sort through account information on 200,000 accounts? You're talking about somewhere between 10 and 100 million pages of information. And you're talking about witnesses to prove the information is valid. They could do it if they had to, and if they only got real debts. But no, that ain't going to happen. For an average of about 2 cents per dollar of alleged debt, that's what they pay. No way. So they get practically nothing, actually, just the computer stuff. Do the debt collectors care that they don't have the information they should have? No, they don't. Not now. Let's do some math. Let's suppose you buy 10 accounts where the person supposedly owes $100. That's $1,000 in total. It costs you $20. You write 10 letters and one person agrees to make payments of $5 a month. You make a bunch of obnoxious calls, and after a couple of months, another person agrees to $5 a month. After just 2 months of those payments, you've gotten your whole investment back and you'll be making money. Now you file suit against the other 8 people. Filing fees cost you $25 per person, so that drives your new costs up to a total of $200. But 4 people don't show up for court, and the court gives you 4 judgments for $100 each. So you already have $200 profit, right? 4 of them who do show up, but 2 of those chicken out and settle on the spot for $75. So that's another $150, and leaves 2 people who fight. Here's a question for the business people out there. Would you hire lawyers to fight the remaining 2 cases, or would you take the money that you got and buy another 10 accounts? The answer the debt collectors have chosen is that they buy more accounts, with a modification. They will usually fight for some part of the way. Believe it or not, that's because their lawyers are cheaper than 2 cents per dollar of nominal debt. That sounds worse than it is, though. Remember I said 100 debts of $100, 10 debts of $100. Actually, we're talking hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of debts of, possibly several $1,000s. So when a lawyer represents a number of cases at a time, there could be significant money involved. Still, there comes a point where if you keep it up, it will be unprofitable for them to stay after you. You see, in the scheme I just outlined, which is realistic, they never need any evidence at all. And so they don't get it, and probably couldn't get it if they wanted to. It's the way they're designed. If you do fight, they'll do what they can within certain limits to bluff you and the judge. That's the main place where we come in. We have developed a system to help you get the information you need from the debt collectors and to the judges to call the debt collectors bluffs. In a way, it's as simple as that. They're bluffing and you want to call them. We help you do that. It means avoiding foolish mistakes before the case is even filed, answering the case correctly, finding out what they have or haven't got so that you can show it to the court, and not blowing it in the days leading up to court days or at trial. We help with all of that. That's really what these cases are all about. Now remember I said that the debt collectors are big business. I think that's the only way they could get away with what they do. When you think about it, it's really shameful. The debt collectors routinely file cases where the lawyers have not even looked at and don't have access to any real evidence at all, none. And they do it on behalf of an industry absolutely notorious for fraud and deceit and poor record keeping and a lot of other deceptive and, dishonest practices. Everybody knows that. And not only do the judges not punish them for abusing the court system with this farce, they actually smooth the path for them and turn justice on its head as often as not. It's outrageous. Why in the world would this group ever be treated with respect by the courts? You may have a hard time getting through to a lot of the judges, and why? I'll leave you to figure that out. But if you think it doesn't have much to do with justice or legality, you probably weren't born yesterday. We help people represent themselves. Helping you do things right is only one part of the job. Helping you get the court's attention and commitment to fairness takes more. And frankly, that can be impossible for us to guarantee in any one case. We can't do that. But the more people who do represent themselves, the more judges get used to it and the more they have to pay attention. We need more people to defend themselves. The more people who do it, the better it gets for everybody. Tomorrow I'll tell you about a special offer we're making to get you to fight for yourself and for your rights. If you are not actually being sued or feeling threatened with suit, tomorrow won't be about you. We'll tell you more day after tomorrow. YourLegalLegUp.com